Hey guys, this is one more race winner video. We have here West Boy's car, the winner of the Christmas Enduro that happened last December, of course, Christmas. This is the West Boy's cars. We're gonna take some time to open up and show because they pull every single trick that they have in the book for this. A little bit about the Christmas Enduro. The Christmas Enduro was a race that we raced for 5 hours the last December. We have 16 teams enrolled. Only 15 show up. That was kind of my fault. I was coming back from the Slot Madrid and the UK festival. I got here on Tuesday. I started to work on Wednesday. I felt a little sick and I had COVID. And then the only person that I have contact with was Ed Shore. He got COVID too. He was enrolled to come to the team, to race with one of the teams, and he couldn't come. So we had one less team as enrolled. So only 15 teams, but we have a good semi-final and then the final. And the way that we race was the teams were formed by 2 people. And if you go to the final, you have to draft one of the 10 best drivers from the best of the rest. And Team West Boys, they draft Mk.II. And they got lucky because Mew is a hell of a driver, and Mew got lucky because they had a hell of a car, so they won the Enduro. Was a very long Enduro. Was our first time doing this kind of race here. Not Enduros, but that long of Enduro with the semi-final and the final. And the race start like almost, they start open almost 7 a.m. and they close almost like 10 p.m. So rough day. People had a lot of fun. Was the last race that Robert Silva was here with us. And well, let's open up this car. As I said, they pull every single they pull every single trick on the book for this guy here, and they're gonna try to dissecate this guy and show you what the car have, because the car is amazing. It handles very well. Okay, guys, so this is the West Boys car, the winner of the Christmas Enduro 2022. Couple things before we go. On the body, I have the body out here. So they're very, as I say, every single trick on the book. Here, this is a white kit that they paint. It's like a custom paint job based on the West livery from McLaren, I think. Mika Hakkinen and Kimi Räikkönen and David Coulthard raced this car. So they did like a custom job on this GT40. The race was just for GT40s. Not only the custom job, he put some sort of a spoiler here, which is not original from the car, which looks cool, gives it like a more modern look, which it is, because this is 96, 97 livery from West Cigarettes. So again, let's go. So right here, they have the driver. The driver is headless, by the way. I think they have a Interlagos helmet of Charles Leclerc, but they lost during the race. Might be a technique to save some weight during the race. The head just go off and nobody notices. But here it is. So no head. The driver, and that's something that I learned with those guys. The driver is not full on. So it has some movement, which means the body is more flexible. Look at this. So here's the very first trick. This is a gray area on our rule book. I might ban for the next season, because in order to do that, you need a white kit. So you have those little things all the way up, and you just put your soldering iron a little bit, so you have some room here. I don't know if the camera can show. So you have the room here to make this movement. And of course, you open up the holes a little bit on the driver, and then you have the driver loose, and you have the driver movement. So if you get a car that is ready to go, this thing will be all the way down, so you don't have this room. And maybe I need to bend this. But it's a great innovation, but I might need to bend this because people will buy only white kits to race because they have this liberty to do this movement. So this is the first gray area, first trick that I could see here. Very nice, guys. Very well done. But yeah. Completely legal, by the way, but I might have to address this on the new rule book. Another thing that I noticed, and that's probably one of the things that are not 100% correct on this car, is that as you have, maybe you can see here, as you have this movement on the driver, when you sit the driver is sitting on top of the motor, so it's touching the motor. this might bring some sort of trepidation and stuff like that. So you kind of don't need that, but the option to have this movement on the body, so it's sitting on the motor. You see, it's kind of moving. So this is a little flaw, but who cares? They won the race. So this is the body. Of course, they got a little hit here, I think, because of the lane sticker. So the West came off. They easily to repair. I think if you put some coats of clear coat here, the decals will be protected. Another great detail here. Their names: Herman James and Ian Douglas, the West boys, plus Mk.II that came on the draft. Those are the winners. So very cool car, very cool design, great shades of gray and silver. Brings straight to the 90s livery West from the McLaren Formula 1 car. Very cool stuff. The driver is perfect, very nice. I don't know if you can see it here, but very well painted. The body is perfect. They won. We have concourse, and they won concourse with this car too. Pretty nice stuff. Details on the car just don't stop there. Even the hubcaps are kind of more modern. Everything is looking very well, very nicely done. Okay, let's go to the car. More tricks coming up. Here, let's start with the cables. So they put a little cables with a little bit more wider than the original NSR. That's something that I've been debating. I'm not an engineer, but I don't think makes any difference. But people feel more comfortable racing with those. I think they're gonna have more power to the motor, but it doesn't make any difference because those are just very low amp motors, and we have plenty of amps on the track. So this is one of the first change. On weights, they have one little Professor motor tungsten disc here and some slot.it around it. I think they play around with the weights, and that's what they got to working. Here on the pod, now of course they're using the white chassis. It's an NSR white chassis. NSR offers this range of chassis, different hardeners. There is even one that is harder than this one, the green one, the extra hard one. This is the hard one. So what it does limits the side movement of the car. And for our wood track, this is kind of the way to go, the white one. It says NSR by GM, by Giovanni Montiglio, I think. He is the designer now for Thunderslot. So this is an older mold that Giovanni worked when he was with NSR. The engine is the motor is the 21.5 NSR. This is the motor that we're supposed to be racing that class. Nothing to see here. Sealed, everything new. One thing that I noticed is that says number 1 here. So this is probably the one with more RPMs. So which means that they tested. I don't know how many they had, but they tested. Here on the pod movement, you have minimal lateral pod movement, but you have a lot back and forth. This is kind of looks like it's easy to set up, but it's not. Needs a lot of work, especially here around the bushings, around the chassis, the top of the chassis, the pod, and the top of this little plastic nut here that holds it. Plus, you need to find the correct metric screw. And this one here, turns out it is slotted screw. I have the number here. Well, supposed to have the number here. Okay, CH54. So a bag comes with 10. It's cheap. I think it's around $4.99. So you get 10 screws of those, and you can do this setup. They might have to open a little bit between this hole that you have here between the chassis and the pod, and so you can have this nice movement here back and forth, which helps a lot here, especially on our track. If you're racing with magnets, forget about that. You don't need to be stuck. But this is the sweet little move that you have to set up those cars. As you can see, the pod is sitting on the chassis right here. It's a very well designed. So you have just like a rail here going back and forth. This is the sweet spot that you're looking for. What else I can say about this car? Okay, so let's start to open up. Here in the back, you have those tires, which are NSR Ultra Grips, sitting on NSR 16mm wheels, air wheels. As you can see, there's a space in between the wheels and the tires, and the tires are very, very thin. If you see, I don't know if you can see it from the camera here, but they're almost not straight when you sit the car. And there's just a little rubber until you touch the aluminum behind this. So this is the way they went through. Let me try to pick up a caliper to measure these guys. Let's cut a little bit. So here with the caliper, those tires, they're very, very small. So they sit, the whole tire and wheel, they sit at 17.3. So they have basically 1.3 millimeters of rubber here, which is very, very low. Yeah, almost 2 millimeters of rubber. Yeah, 1.6, let's say. So the car is basically sitting on the aluminum with a little rubber band around it. They're using hollow axles. Those are the 49 millimeters NSR hollow axles, and they're using ball bearings, single flanged ball bearings. Very nice setup. There is no spacers here, so the wheel is touching directly the ball bearing. Well, it might be, sorry, they might have, because the way to do this, you should have like a small spacer between the bearing and the wheel. I might have lost it when I opened this car several times to study, because we have a surprise. Stay tuned, we have a surprise by the end of this video. Right here, the other bearing, nothing special. And here is where the tricks start to come up. So they have this axle here, which has like a strange gear to us, which is not NSR or a slotted gear. This is a JK gear. This gear is made for 124 scale cars. As you can see, they cut off the gear hub and glue it to the axle. This is a trick that you can see on 124 scale race. And probably this whole axle here is calibrated and balanced. So this is kind of a pro, probably came from Ian or James, probably James. Herman James is like a 124 racing legend here in California. So this is a trick that he probably pulled from the 124 scale stuff. So there is no hub. It's much more lighter. It's glued to the axle, which is kind of a risk, but if you know how to do it, you know how to do it. It's probably aligned and balanced. So this is the perfect gear. So this is a 37 pitch 64 gear using and I'm not exaggerating, an 18 tooth pinion pitch 64, probably from APR, probably from drag racing. So this fits here perfectly, as you can see. And the gear mesh is just like from another world. It's perfect. There is no difference between in between the gear mesh. Rolls perfectly. This car has been sitting here on my desk for almost 2 months now. Doesn't even need to be oiled or anything. It's perfect. So congratulations on this guy. But this is a gray area that I might have to address, because it's for very, very experienced, almost pro drivers actually. So I don't believe that everybody knows how to do it, and probably just a few know how to do this in perfection like this, like we have here now. So this is a gray area, gluing gears, cutting off hubs, that I might have to address on our new rule book. But this was completely legal for this race, and it makes this car perfect. That's a winning car. Let's keep going. So we have here the wheels, 17.3. Bearings are glued. We have this piece of art axle here, a hollow axle from NSR, the 49 millimeters, with the JK gear, running 18 tooth pinion. Perfect. So I noticed also that they have a different motor screws. Those are Phillips drive motor screws. NSR comes with only one. They use the 2 holes, which is fine. There's no movement on the motor. What else I can say? So let's go to the guide. Let's go to the front end of the car. And stay tuned, because I have a big surprise by the end of this video. So here on the front wheels, they have those very skinny front wheels with 8 millimeters wide and only 16.7 in diameter. Very small ones. Of course, this is something that people need to learn. You save a lot of weight if you trim your wheels. If you trim your wheels, doesn't make much difference how wide they are. They need to touch the ground here according to our rules. And if you know how to true them, if you can go that low, if you can go that skinny, you save at least 1.5 grams on each side, and that means that you have this revolting action going on much more lighter, which brings a lot of benefits to the car. So taking off, they have one spacer here. I think this is the 2mm from NSR, the black one. Might come with a car too. So if you open up, there is a trick here. Check it out. That's another great trick. So they have a hexo spacer. This is probably the 4mm NSR. If I'm not mistaken, this is like 4813 maybe from NSR. Yeah, that's the sell is at the 4mm. Check it out. So those two screws, you know, they are here to regulate your hide height, and they put this little spacer here in between the screws, so you have less lateral movement here, and the screws fit so better that you can punch the two set screws on top and the bottom, and the car has like free movement, no side movement, and makes it perfect. So this is a nice trick. Everybody can do it. Everybody can learn how to do it. So this is something very nice. I saw they're not the only ones doing it. I saw other cars with it, but hey, we're here. Those are the race winners. Very nice trick. And I think if you have an SR car, you should do it, because NSR provides the space to do it. And as you can see here on the back of the chassis, the spacer does not come out. It sits perfectly here on the room that they have. So this is a win-win situation. Easy to do. Everybody can do it. Okay, let's go to the guide. So the guide, it's something that we're changing for this year. Last year, everybody started to use this long ass guide here from Slotting Plus, and now we're gonna limit it to 25 millimeters, and the guide cannot go over the chassis. Why I'm doing this? Because that was kind of a trend here at the track, and when people discovered, everybody changed all the guides on all the cars. So we're gonna limit 20 to 25, which is the size of the slot invasion guide and the size of the Franken slot guide. So you can use it, but you need to cut a couple of pieces here, and you cannot expose after the chassis. You cannot see the chassis from the top and see guides, a piece of guide over there. So that's gonna be the new rule. So, but here it was legal. I think all the 6 teams on the final had the same guide, which is fine. They have one little spacer here on the bottom, as you can see, just to separate the guide from the chassis. I don't believe there is any correction on the height because of that spacer. They're using eyelets, and here's another trick. That's something that we need to address. Did you see the quantity of spacers they have here? 2 reasons. One, to try to flat out the guide, because they have this perfect movement here. The guide is coming back perfectly. When you G-slot, when you have the marshal putting up, the guide is pointing to the right position, so this is perfect. And the second one, of course, they try to put some weight here, so to have the guide down. You cannot use weighted guides here at Electric Dreams, so they found a gray area here. They found a room here to put some weight on the top of the guide, which is very creative, but that's something that we need to address for the 2023 rules as a gray area. Anyway, perfect car, race winner. Congratulations, Zia and James, for putting this car together. Congratulations for Mil Conroy to be drafted to this team. And Mil is a hell of a racer, and I think made the whole difference on the final when they won the long Enduro for Christmas. But now I have a surprise. Check it out. Electric Dreams is releasing a new car. Every single month on the last day, we're gonna put a new car out, and this is what we have. This is a GT40 with a special livery for Electric Dreams. We make 150. Here's pointing 100 because I have more 50 that I need to show you later. But those are the direct from the factory OEM, original cars, original setup that you can have on any GT40 from NSR. But this, you see, black chassis, red pod with the magnet, tires, original gearing and everything. This is going for sale right now. We're sending out a newsletter to everyone. We'll be selling these on lots, so the first ones to get will get this at a cheaper price. This is cars, a limited edition Electric Dreams, celebrating our 30th anniversary in 2022. Perfect modern Golf livery. We had a customer here, Mike, from Pacific Coast Hobbies. He came up with this paint job because he saw on a video game and everybody fell in love. I sent to Andrea and I sent to Giancarlo, and they say, okay, we can do it. So we partner with them, and they send us 150 of those cars. Here's 100 OEM. If you are a collector or if you want to tune yourself, this is the car to get. But now I have a surprise, and that's might be a surprise to Ian, James, and Mil. This is the second version of this car. As you can see, the body is the same, but here, I don't know if you can get this. Yes? So this slot car is prepared to race. Replicates the setup of the 2022 Electric Dreams Christmas Enduro winning car, West Boys, which is this car right here. Ian Douglas, Herman James, and Milcom Wright as a drafted driver. This is one of 50. We have only 50 of those. And as you can see here, it says race. Let me open up. Let me show you. So what we did here is very special. I think it's the first time that somebody's doing this on the slot car world. Right now, if you buy this car, you're going to get the same setup as Ian's. We have the same screws, we have the same weight, we have the same motor, we have the same gear ratio. Of course, I didn't went for this craziness here with 18 tooth and JK glued, whatever, but we have the same 2.0 gear ratio. We have tires trued by Danny Sanson and polished by Todd Eulery. And front wheels are the same diameter, the same size. Even the braids are the silver-coated braids ones. Chassis, hard chassis, even the body screws are the same. So this is a copy of Ian's, James, and Mil's car, and we'll be selling prepared to race, assembled by me. I'm gonna assemble it one by one, and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna test on the track, and to get like at least a similar time as this car was doing during the race. And if you want this, it's ready to race. You have the same sort of air system wheels with just a little rubber. The tires are a little bit over because if you want to race on plastic tracks. And another difference is the guide, since this guide is not allowed anymore, so we put the NSR wood guide here. So if you want to race, if you want a car ready to go, it's a little bit more expensive because on top of the car, which is special, we have all the parts and labor, but this is it. Even the pod movement, even the sweet pod movement we have here. So available for sale too. Takes like 5 to 7 days to ship because I'm as I told you, I'm assembling one by one. We have only 50 of those. Again, special edition, Electric Dreams. Congratulations, Ian and the West Boys. I hope you guys like this little surprise here. Enjoy the GT40s.